Today on the Morning Edition, cool, damp weather is helping firefighters get the upper hand on Alaska's wildfire season, where crews are now shifting their focus to. And serious charges for an airport operations specialist accused of secretly putting GPS trackers on cars, the red flags to watch out for, and what to do if you ever find one on yours. And later.
Don't be nervous, because it's not that scary.
It's normal to have those back-to-school jitters, from nervous parents to butterflies in the stomach. Some sound advice on how to handle that first day of school as the Morning Edition starts now. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us here on this Friday. The countdown, kids, to that first day of back to school. I mean, it's like the excitement, jitters, you know, especially if you're going to like a new school or changing grades.
But, within just a matter of days when school starts, you're already making new friends. Remember if you had reading class and they assigned paragraphs for you, and then you go ahead and read it before it got to you, so you made sure you had everything?
I remember reading, going to Pizza Hut and getting the stars and the little personal pan pizza.
I miss all of those little rewards you got for doing good in school. And, of course, waking up this morning, we are still holding on to some of those rain showers across South Central. It has been a wet stretch of weather that we began to see taking shape yesterday. We did officially pick up 0.31 inches of rainfall in Anchorage for our Thursday. So we are starting off or kickstarting that wet weather pattern across not only South Central, but the state as a whole. 54 degrees is where we're currently sitting at, where you've got, for the most part, fairly calm winds. We could see some light breezy conditions later today, but you can see across South Central those temperatures in the 40s and the 50s. Another cool day is expected. We're going to see highs in the upper 50s and the lower 60s for the vast majority of South Central. Scattered activity will remain for inland locations, much like we did see yesterday. We will see some dry time here and there, but we're going to continue to favor a chance for some scattered activity throughout the rest of our Thursday, while Prince William Sound will continue to see some of that heavier rain showers that will stick around throughout the day. So yes, wet weather is still with us. It will not be as wet as what we did see yesterday, but we're still going to see a good chunk of our day holding on to some light sprinkle activity, if not some rain showers for a good portion of our Friday. And even out towards the Gulf of Alaska, we've got more activity to be expected. Notice this cloud cover is shifting to the east. This is widespread rain that's eventually going to build into southeast. We're really going to begin to see that uptick in that activity today, with some of the heaviest rainfall for the Panhandle arriving into your weekend. So far today, we've seen nearly a quarter of an inch of rain in Portage, a few hundredths of an inch elsewhere. We're going to continue to add on to that throughout the day, where we've already seen upwards of about 7/10 of an inch of rainfall for the month of August. And you can see temperatures today likely staying in the upper 50s and lower 60s with overcast skies, so another cool afternoon to be expected. But more rain carries us into the weekend. I'll have those details in that 7-day for you coming up.
Alaska's wildfire season is nearing the finish line, and crews are shifting from active fighting to containment and repair. Cooler, wetter weather is helping, but some new fire activity is still popping up. Forest roads in the Nana Ridge complex are closed to the public, and officials urge people to stay out for safety. The Bonanza Creek fire is 22% contained at more than 12,000 acres, while the Goldstream Creek fire is over 24,000 acres with 47% containment. Drones are still finding some hot spots, and crews are digging them out so rain can finish the job. Heavy equipment is repairing fire lines in Little Goldstream and grading roads in the area. But with prices on the rise across Alaska, many consumers are rethinking how they spend their money. Georgina Fernandez takes a closer look at the rising costs and how it's changing budgets across the state.
Right now in Alaska, inflation is up. The Alaska Department of Labor and Workforce Development reporting that it rose to 2.2% in 2024. That's slightly under the average of 3.3%. At the same time, pricing jumped 18% between 2020 and 2023. Higher prices meaning Alaskans are having to adjust their spending habits. Now, this graph breaks that down for 2023. Where a large chunk of household spending was allocated towards housing at 45%. From 2021 to 2023, that number has increased 6%. Another notable spending area was medical care at 12%, which has gone up just 5% since 2022. Knowing this data, we went out to ask people today, how are they spending their money?
Honestly, I'm trying not to spend money a lot these days, which I think is more or less representative of a lot of trends going on, just because I don't know what things are going to cost here. I would like to eventually purchase a home, and just the reality is that we need to be really tight-fisted with our money, really thoughtful, really just aware of where that's going and what value we are getting with the time and energy we spend trading for money.
A lot more frugal. You know, I see that groceries and that have increased in price, so really have to watch what we buy. Don't buy all those luxury items anymore. Just be careful.
You can find more details on these spending trends right now live on our website. Georgina Fernandez, Alaska's news source.
A shocking moment caught on camera, parking lot on fire and a man with a gas can. This happened Thursday afternoon near the 3000 block of C Street. APD received reports of a man who appeared to try to light himself on fire, and it was all caught on camera. APD says when the man failed to catch himself on fire, he started to try and light the parking lot around him. Anchorage Assembly member Keith McCormick took these photos and called 911 as he watched from his office across the street. He expressed concern about how long it took for emergency response crews to arrive on scene because he says by the time they got there, the man had already left the area.
I called 911 immediately, and I was on hold for about 4 minutes before I was able to get through. And 4 minutes is a really long time when you're watching a building be lit on fire and you're like, oh my gosh, I need immediate help. And you feel like you're not getting it, and you're very eager and wanting to stop the situation from getting worse.
McCormick said after he spoke to a dispatcher, it took an additional 6 to 7 minutes until he saw emergency responders. An APD spokesperson told Alaska's news source that multiple 911 calls came in, and it only took 5 minutes for officers to arrive. A traveling nurse is charged in her landlord's death outside of Soldotna. 78-year-old naval Vietnam veteran Joe Skip Dove Jr. was found dead in his home Tuesday afternoon with multiple stab wounds. 31-year-old LaShonda Lewis from Virginia was taken to a hospital with self-inflicted injuries and later charged with first-degree murder and 2 counts of second-degree murder. Charging documents say Lewis is a traveling behavioral health and psychiatric nurse who had been renting a room in Dove Jr.'s home. Imagine driving down the road and then seeing a small plane blocking the way. Well, that's just what happened Thursday after a small aircraft made an emergency landing. Danny Tompkins has the story.
A State of Alaska aircraft made a precautionary roadway landing near Palmer on Thursday. Wasilla resident Patrick Egger saw the Super Cub land right in front of him.
This morning I was on my way to play golf, driving there, and an aircraft came down over Selden Road, very low over the top of me. I realized that they must be getting ready to land, so I got my phone, pulled over the hill, and was able to video record the end part of their landing and the police officers coming to see if they were okay.
The Department of Public Safety said the emergency landing was due to mechanical issues. No human injuries or aircraft damages were reported, according to the DPS.
Thank God no one got hurt.
After authorities say mechanical issues were resolved, the aircraft was ready to take off from the same road it landed on. Danny Tompkins, Alaska's news source.
An airport operations specialist is facing serious charges after police say he put GPS trackers on cars at Ted Stevens Anchorage International Airport. Investigators say the devices were found on employees' personal vehicles while parked in the staff lot.
We want people just to be very aware of their surroundings. If they do see a tracker on the bottom of their vehicle, we do want them to not to touch it, to report that to law enforcement, so law enforcement can come and take that evidence into custody and follow up from there.
Dustin Madden, who has worked at the airport since 2020, is now charged with 4 misdemeanor counts of stalking and 1 felony count of tampering with evidence. Still ahead, look up tonight and tomorrow. The August full sturgeon moon is supposed to light up the sky. Where and how to get the best view of the summer showstopper. Plus,
more than 1 million artists collaborated to make this painting, and those artists happen to be insects. I'm Michael George with how one artist is using flies to create works of art.
Still holding on to some wet conditions across South Central. Along with it, some cooler weather. I'll have more details on that and what to expect this weekend. But first, at sunrise, 5:51 in Anchorage, 6:41 in Bethel. Your full forecast is next.
Well, sky gazers, get your binoculars ready. Starting tonight, you will be able to catch a glimpse of the August full moon, or the sturgeon moon. It will be at its fullest around 3:55 a.m. Eastern time Saturday. Anyone looking up would be able to see it, whether they live in the city or the suburbs. And if getting up that early isn't quite for you, no worries. A NASA scientist says it will appear to be full for a few days. As to why it's called that, it's because it marks the time of year when sturgeon fish are most readily caught. Indigenous tribes living primarily in Canada refer to the lunar as the flying up moon, denoting the time of year when young birds are learning to fly. And then those living in the northern Great Plains, they call it the black cherries moon, to mark when cherries are becoming ripe. So, you know, Aaron, of course, obviously living here in Alaska, it's a little bit different for us. You know, we've been having some rain, some cloud cover, but still cool if it's up for a few days.
Yeah, and if you happen to be above the clouds, you'll be able to see it. Unfortunately, here across South Central, we are going to hold on to mostly cloudy to overcast skies. In fact, a good portion of the state seeing that return to wetter weather, which means, yes, that cloud coverage is returning. Notice out west, where we have been holding on to some drier conditions. We're beginning to see those clouds build back in. 61 in Nome, up under cloudy skies. We've got some light rain showers as you head through western parts of the interior, as well as out towards southeast, Kodiak, and eventually into parts of the interior. We're going to begin to see some showers building into the region. Waking up this morning along the slope, it's a cool morning with those temperatures sitting in the upper 30s. We've still got that remnants of that typhoon that continues to lead to some ongoing showers across parts of South Central. Of course, the activity today for inland areas will be more scattered in nature. We'll still see some dry conditions to be expected, but a good portion of the day will still favor at least a chance for some showers. And you notice as you head north of the Alaska range, we're also building into some of that rain for parts of the interior. Now, notice what we've got ongoing across the state. There's our area of low pressure that continues to keep a chance for some rain showers for both South Central as well as as you head out towards parts of the Aleutians and Southwest Alaska, and then eventually building into parts of the Panhandle. Now we're watching another low that's beginning to drop south through the state, or eventually will drop south through the state. This is going to continue to reinforce those cloudy conditions, that wet weather, and for some, a return to some cooler conditions. And we did see that yesterday here across South Central. We did manage to climb into the lower 60s, right at 63 degrees. This coming off of what was a beautiful Wednesday at 71 degrees. Now we're beginning that downward trend through the weekend when it comes to those temperatures. We'll likely stay in the upper 50s and the lower 60s the next couple of days. I was still holding on, though, to that chance for some scattered showers here over the next couple of hours. Again, we will see ample dry time, but we're going to continue to favor that chance for some rain sticking around throughout the rest of our Friday and into the weekend as well. Now, if you live through Prince William Sound, this is where we're going to see most of that rainfall as it continues to grip coastal areas of South Central. Inland locations, you can kind of see that passing activity staying with us with some dry time between each wave of some rain. Of course, later today on into Saturday, we could see an extended period of some showers building into inland areas of South Central. But for the foreseeable future, we are going to continue to favor these wetter conditions. How much rain can we expect to see? Well, much like yesterday, we could see the potential for up to a quarter, if not slightly higher amounts of that accumulation across western parts of South Central, while areas through the Prince William Sound once again see anywhere from about a quarter of an inch to nearly an inch of rain out towards Whittier. Now, the Copper River Basin faring a lot drier, but we will see some spotty to isolated activity in the forecast. Notice we have been holding on to those dry conditions for the first half of this week, but now we're seeing that uptick in rainfall. We're approaching 7/10 of an inch of rain for the month as we continue to hold on to those wet conditions. Looks like we are going to continue to see temperatures today, upper 50s and lower 60s with that widespread rain through Prince William Sound, warming into the low to mid 60s through the valley. Even here in Anchorage, we may see that potential for highs to stay in the 50s throughout the day, largely depending upon how long that rain does stick around through the rest of our Friday. And those temperatures staying in the low to mid 60s for the foreseeable future. We will see some drier conditions next week with a return to some partly cloudy skies, but still in the mid-60s.
All right, thanks for the update, Aaron. A new art exhibition in New York is creating a lot of buzz. Michael George shows us how insects are being used to create beautiful works of art.
In this enclosure, hundreds of thousands of flies are hard at work. They may not look like it, but these are artists, and their paintings have crowds of art fans buzzing.
You know, the first fly paintings I did were about 15 years ago.
Conceptual artist John Knuth uses common houseflies to create paintings. He does it by feeding them sugar water mixed with paint.
Flies are in a constant state of regurgitation. Anytime they land on a surface, they regurgitate, suck it back in, regurgitate, suck it back in, and that's how they leave the mark behind.
The process may sound random, but Knuth says he can actually direct the flies as they paint millions of tiny dots.
I can't tell the flies where to land exactly, but I know where I'll get densities of paint, where the cup of paint is. So the flies go to where the cup of paint is, and then they land closest to the food source.
Knuth's latest series is called The Hot Garden, on display at Hollis Taggart downtown in New York. The paintings take inspiration from the devastating Southern California wildfires earlier this year, which also destroyed Knuth's home.
The hot garden becomes not only the metaphor for Altadena, where my home was, but also sort of this heating climate we're in.
Unfortunately, this is a case where the art outlived the artists. All the flies who created these paintings have already died. Their lifespan is only a few weeks. Knuth says the houseflies are treated well, and ingesting paint doesn't affect their lifespan.
I've developed a warm spot in my heart for the flies. You know, they're fascinating animals. They're really important to the ecosystem.
A blend of nature and art, with the world's tiniest artists holding the paintbrush. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Very interesting.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcasts from Alaska's news source automatically and stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's News Source app.